PhD level researchers aren't paid $20,000 a month. If you want to do PhD level research, why would you spend $20,000 a month when you could get a PhD person for way less than that?
They might be self-aware.
Hello, and welcome again to another episode of They Might Be Self-Aware. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Daniel Bishop, and today I am joined by...
the esteemed, world-renowned... Well, actually, this might not be true. Hunter Powers. Oh, okay. Awesome.
We have listeners in all kinds of countries at this point.
This is true.
We're literally world-renowned. Well, I don't know if you're renowned. What do we think of the, it was kind of low and slow intro? We're not ASMR. Maybe we can do an ASMR episode. For those of you who are not super creeped out by ASMR, or are, let us know in the comments.
Renowned.
Nope. Some people really love that stuff. I don't.
It's soothing. It's soothing.
Nope. That's always skeeves me out. My skin is literally crawling right now. No, thank you. I have the
ASMR,
of whatever
AI gadgets.
Oh boy. Nope. We're going to talk about something else. I want to talk about something that we talked about last week, this week.
I can't remember that far back. Please remind me.
Super upset. Really mad. We talked about OpenAI wants to allegedly charge $20,000 a month for certain AI agents. Specifically, they were saying, and again, we don't know if this is real, but given OpenAI's
someone said it was real.
Past, yeah, someone said it is probably real. Someone wouldn't just go on the internet and lie. Allegedly, agents for high-income knowledge workers like software developers are $2,000 and $10,000 a month, respectively, and then $20,000 for PhD level research. We focused last week on boy, that sure is a lot of money, and agentic AI, is it really going to be anything? Sure, fine. I forgot a really important part of that I wanted to revisit for this episode.
Lay it on me.
PhD level researchers aren't paid $20,000 a month. If you want to do PhD level research, why would you spend $20,000 a month when you could get a PhD person for way less than that? In almost probably any field, less than that?
Conceptually, though, this can do more. It can produce the results faster. I have seen this argument. Because you're like, hold on a second, $20,000 a month times 12, that's more than on average you're paying a PhD a year. Why don't I just get the real thing? The hypothesis is that the AI can do far more and maintain that.
I object because I've seen what AI can do, and I've seen the line that can be drawn in terms of its set of capabilities, and every now and then there's a jump up. Sure. What OpenAI comes out with, even if it really is as good as PhD level researchers, which then we're way talking into the is it actually self-aware category. That's extremely high intensity knowledge work. Given what I've seen so far, it's not going to be better than even if it's the same quality as a person, even if it does technically work faster than a person, I really don't think that we're at that big jump where it'd be like a PhD level person spitting out stuff at the speed of AI. It would probably be at this equivalent overall speed of a PhD level researcher. I really yes, an LLM can spit out text faster, but I don't think you're going to get 100x what a top of the line human being with a friggin' PhD under their belt. I don't think we're going to get that at the speed of AI going 24/7. I really don't. And if we do, we hit the singularity, folks, because we're going to say, hey, $20,000 a month AI agent, figure out wormholes, figure out every cure to cancer, figure out every problem, and the implication from this thing that we don't even know if is real. If it were true, that it doesn't just change the world, it capital C changes the world. Everything will be different 1 year after that comes out, the world will be a different place because it's not even going to be one world anymore. We're going to be all over the friggin' galaxy. We solved it. It's a full-on Star Wars at that point. We've got hyperspace and everything, and I look forward to that, but it's not happening. It's not. Put me on the record, that's not happening.
It's all about the implication. For you,
I don't know. It got us to read the article and talk about it. Even if OpenAI does come out with this thing, $20,000 a month?
Well, let me ask you this. Is there any AI-ish kind of thing that did not generate money for you that you would spend $20,000 a month on? It's like, well, if it could do that, maybe I could justify it. My mother listens
to this, so I can't really...
The implication.
Oh, yeah, it's the implication. No, no, there's nothing that I would spend $20,000 a month on. What would I spend? That's so much money.
It's a lot of money.
$20,000 a month to spare. I might work in AI. I ain't got that kind of scratch.
Right. It has to be something that makes
AI
money.
Agents are making me the money to spend the money on the other AI agents, I guess. No, it's absurd. It's patently absurd. We talked a bunch last week of, it's a bunch of money. I'm just so mad at like this concept. It's insane. I have some friends who are much less tolerant of like AI taking jobs or increasing certain like productivity tasks, I guess you could say, to put it much nicer. And I feel much the way that they probably feel about many of these other things of like, how dare you? It's so incredibly expensive and pass. It's not pass. It's this isn't real, and even if it was, absolutely absurd.
I'm just trying to think of like what are the things, the consumables that people spend that kind of money on. Like, what are we talking like? The super rare bottle of wine. We go on lavish vacations. You fly somewhere in the private jet. Like that's where you're racking up like these $20,000. If I
bought a nice bottle of like scotch, like $100 a month, which, sure, you can go way higher than that, or $100 a bottle. Of course you can go way higher than that. But if I bought like a fairly nice bottle of scotch every day, that's like $3,000 a month. That's basically an order of magnitude less than what they're describing this for. So am I going out every single day and buying the really nice Hennessy up on the top shelf where they have to like unlock it from a case and everything? Nobody. The 0.01 whatever percent, they can drop $20,000 a day on whatever, but let alone the average person. Keep in mind, those who are working like minimum wage, they're not making twice that in a year.
All I know is the more of that scotch you drink, the better those AI models look.
Okay, the better they look. Did you, before it got pulled down, see the internal demo of the Horizon Zero Dawn? Horizon Zero Dawn is a really great video game. For those of you who haven't played it, go play it. It's great. It's really great. I love it. There was an internal demo at Sony where they showed, here's Aloy, the main character from this game, hooked up to an LLM, basically. And it's like, you can talk to a video game character.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that before it went down?
I did not see it, no.
Okay. Looked bad, is what I'm going to say. It looked bad and not good. Both of those, two totally separate things. I 1,000,000% understand why this demo exists, because of course the people who are working on these kinds of things want to be trying out, here's a new possible technology, here's a new implementation of it. This could be a new avenue toward recurring monthly revenue, whatever it ends up being. It was janky animation. Like the game itself, the normal game, has great like motion capture and like fantastic movements. The people look realistic. I never felt like pulled out of the game whenever I was playing it. Here, big weird mouth movements and like the voice. I can't even tell if it was an attempt at cloning the character's voice. It was so bad. And yes, there was. How
did it compare with Gerblin? Well, like where if it was
Gerblin... better than Gerblin's voice in terms of like appealing to a person, but it didn't sound anything like the character from the video game. And it was like such weird standard, clearly just hooked up to a normal LLM that had just been given, here are some bullet points of stuff that happens in the game. It wasn't Uncanny Valley because it's already not like a person, it's a video game character through like a video game engine. But it was whatever the video game equivalent of the Uncanny Valley is, where it was like, this is wrong. It's wrong and bad, and I don't like it.
But I presume it wasn't meant to be a polished demo. It was more just proof of concept we could do this. Because
it was a tech concept demo, absolutely.
Right. We led a call with Sesame a few weeks ago on here, and wow, that sounded great.
Times better than that tech demo.
That technology exists, and presumably they could pair it with. They could solve that problem. But it was just it was embarrassing that this internal prototype leaked,
it was
and
really
that
embarrassing.
Potentially,
I think they deleted it not because it was some secret thing, but because it was embarrassingly bad. Well, probably both. But yeah, like I watched this video shortly before it got taken down, and I was like, "Is this real?" It was really bad, and again, I don't blame them for doing it. I think that every company should be screwing around with these technologies. I really do. Everything from, I think, like, there have been a couple articles saying, like, McDonald's is going to try and have something take your order more better. A bunch of the comments on some of the videos that I saw related to that were saying, like, it's not the taking down the order that is the problem. It's them getting the order right that is the problem. Maybe that's a whole other...
I think some of the fast food chains have already rolled out the AI order taker. And I'm not sure.
Recognition, speech to text is certainly not quote unquote solved, but it is pretty good. And certainly within the bounds of like, they can order these things off of this menu. Yeah. With those constraints, like your hit rate's going to be pretty darn high.
Do you care if you go to McDonald's or insert the equivalent that you might go to from time to time and you're talking with an AI at the drive-through window versus a human? Does that change where you go at all, or like,
I can see why some people would, especially in kind of a reactionary anti-AI sort of movement thing.
Yeah.
And I know I've mentioned this a bunch of times, and I'll keep mentioning it forever. I don't think that every job that exists needs to be done by a person. Taking down orders at a fast food place, is that really the best use of somebody's time? I posit that it is not. Warehouse workers. A decent chunk of the United States, like, workforce works in warehousing. Do people need... Is that really a ideal job for humans to be doing? Mining. Coal mining. Let alone any other kind of mining. Like, surely that is not... a bunch of... You're not going to be way high up on the self-actualization meter, let alone the clean lungs meter, if that's your job. Now, if what gives you money to put food on the table goes away, obviously that is a problem. And we need to have like something to help replace that and move people out of industries that are going away and into something else. That has happened for every new technology that's ever come out. I do still continue to feel for anyone whose job is replaced or changed or whatever due to these technologies. Of course, we are in a transitional period as a species right now. But are a bunch of these jobs really the right thing for people to be doing? And I say no.
People come in all different shapes and sizes and intellect levels. I also wonder some of the jobs that you might view as more beneficial to society, like it's a normal distribution, and we need work for people on the lower end of said normal distribution. And isn't that almost by definition going to be work that doesn't necessarily meet your criteria for the top level of self-actualization? Is perhaps working.
People can find meaningful work that doesn't have to be I'm a programmer or I'm a lawyer or whatever. Like, you don't have to have PhD levels of biochemical research, whatever, under your belt to enjoy what you do for a living. But you don't need to be mining or putting thing from box into other bigger box. Like, that's not what is going to drive people to, like, I'm at my best when I'm in an unlit warehouse that's sweltering and I'm not given bathroom break. Nobody enjoys that. I want those jobs to go away because there has to be something else behind it. Maybe, and like I mentioned, coal mining. This specifically is a thing in, I think it was like West Virginia, probably lots of the coal belt or whatever we call it, like Eastern United States, Appalachia, whatever. There was like a big program of a bunch of these coal plants are going to be shutting down because it is financially not feasible. You know, renewables and so on have like become cheap enough to the point where it's literally not worth it to keep a bunch of these coal plants running. Okay, that's going to shut down. Now we don't need the coal mines. People working at those places, the mine and the power plant, get them working in solar. You don't have to have like a college degree to be able to install solar out in fields somewhere. That's going to give us cheap renewable energy. You don't have nearly as much of the like physical dangers of working with coal dust or whatever. Just because some jobs are going to go away, whether it be due to AI or anything, really, renewable energy, whatever, doesn't mean that you have to pivot to like, shoot, I have to go back to school for 15 years to get. No, if you're talking about that normal distribution, there's always going to be PhD level work. There's always going to be work that doesn't require you to be a knowledge worker. Even if we have robots that can do all of the construction jobs, or self-driving takes away all of the driving, and that's 10% of the US workforce right there, drives stuff for a living. Even if that goes away, there'll be something else.
Well, for $20,000 a month,
we go straight to UBI. You know, it's one or the other.
For $20,000 a month, you can be your own PhD level researcher.
And that's what we've talked about too, is give people the power to do these things.
I think
anybody can be a PhD level researcher. Why not let them be?
I want to see the movie or the story. And it kind of feels like a little bit of a play on Idiocracy, but of the quote unquote idiot who hires the $20,000 a month researcher and is now is the new Elon Musk of the world, taking over everything. But like, they understand absolutely nothing. They just accidentally got scammed into swiping their credit card one day to sign up for the $20,000, and then now they're being heralded, they're winning the Nobel Prize, etc. But they're just
capitalism, let's call it, just as like an ultra broad concept, is if you're bringing value to society, people are going to pay for that, and then you get the money from it. That's a gross oversimplification, and I was one course short of getting a minor in business in college, so forgive me if I'm losing some of the subtleties. But the point is, if you make something valuable, you get money for it in kind of our mode of existing in the Western world. If that's the case, and you get to claim the credit for it, and you say, I'm the person who made this thing available, does it matter if AI generated 95% of your code for the Y Combinator thing, speaking of earlier discussions, or if you, a farmer, saw some farming-related problem, you're like, what if there was a tool that helped predict this whatever faster? Hey, AI, what, like, to really paint the picture, I'm in my tractor right now. Hey, AI, I noticed that this kind of weed grows more during the... Can you make a prediction model to figure out the fields to put the pesticide on at the right, whatever it ends up being. And it says, yup, sure, here, you, the human, get the IP rights. I just launched a website. Oh, we have the monthly recurring revenue pouring in now. Great. Let the person have that credit and the money and whatever associated with it. Let people benefit from the technology.
I think I'm hesitant, going back to our fast food worker or the order taker being an AI model. I don't like it, but that's because I perceive it as being a less efficient process. I don't yet have good experiences having conversations with AI models for the purposes of extracting something explicit. Having a kind of like a casual conversation or talking about an idea, yes, but like I'm trying to instruct the AI to perform a specific task, like order me a hamburger. Yeah, I'm like, it's going to mess something up, and it's going to take. There's the delay there. It's like it's more efficient talking with the human. I have greater confidence that I'm going to be able to have an efficient conversation and get the thing that I asked for in the real world conversation. But I could definitely see that gap closing. Now I
Yeah,
like
the delay in like speech to text, then text back to speech. Sesame has this sort of unified, it's just one pass kind of model. We're going to see more of that in the next 6 months, year, 2 years.
but it's also,
I think so. Like that gets closer, and being able to trust it more. Probably next week we're going to be talking about citing your sources. We're seeing more of that coming out, and the ability to trust what's coming out of it as being accurate, I think, is going to be more important over time. Because you're right, hallucinations, especially for like more timely stuff, is really a problem right now.
Yes, and
so it's easier to talk to a person still, but you keep saying this is the worst it's ever going to be, right? Isn't that your Hunterism? I have my 50-50-50. You say this is the worst it's ever going to be.
In general, yes. I'm imagining all the ways it could get much, much worse. Oh
no, I meant like the worst in terms of the capabilities of the model.
Yes, but I think we're in a transition. We're transitioning towards the value and the experiencing being more about the application of the model and less about the actual model. And because the improvements in the actual models, that's slowing down. But the applications of the models everywhere we can use this stuff is growing. And that there's wild variance in it. And I guess presumably that will continue to improve as well. But
there's wild variance in like the quality of code coming out from a thing.
No, well, the applications of the technology. How well are companies integrating this AI stuff?
Sure.
Apple.
That's true of every technology in every company. Some companies are better incorporating new stuff than others.
Yes, but I guess I'm speaking to this is the worst it will ever be. I think we could still see some very horrible implementations of good technology.
I can think of some bad implementations of good technology done elsewhere too. You ever use Microsoft Teams?
I have used...
I'm just dunking on somewhere there's a product manager. I feel like someone's making fun of me. There are plenty of good ideas and good technologies and good approaches to things that don't have to be used right and often aren't. Let's get into like, hey, Hunter, who's worked in this space and used the same kind of tooling that I have because we used to work together.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company called Atlassian. And Atlassian has a whole bunch of different products. And they've got one of them called Jira. What is Jira? For those of us listening who are not self-aware of it.
Jira
is not aware of it.
A ticket management system, a work management system where you write these tickets that's primarily used for software development. So when you're building a piece of software, you break it down into these individual tasks, which you record in a work ticket, and then those get distributed to engineers to implement. But it can be used in anything that you might break down into work tickets and assign
project
out.
management.
Yeah. But it's specialized for software development, but it has multiple use cases. And it's the default standard, and it's also the default. I kind of hate this software when asked,
sure.
But for a long
people
time,
love to complain about it.
Yeah, it's probably the best, but I kind of hate it.
Now, have you also had the joy of working with Azure DevOps? Speaking of another ticket management system that's software specific.
No, I've not used that one. Is it as good as Teams?
It's a lot like Jira, except worse in every conceivable way. Have you used Monday.com?
I have used Monday.com.
It's like Jira, but harder to use, but PMs like it more because it looks nicer and you can change it around more. It's more flexible, I'll give it that. I like it less. I think Jira, despite the fact that you're right, everyone loves to complain about it, it's, for at least the software space, the best option. But the point is, from any of these and other, Trello's really super simple. From any of these like different management-y softwares, you could say, well, this one obviously does this right, and look how the others completely screw it up. And that's not even touching on any of the AI stuff. It's, well, this technology, or like Monday loads really slowly. They must have bad database management or sharding or other buzzword, whatever the heck it ends up being. Using an AI agent or using AI, just the LLM, or using machine learning models. I've been making plenty of machine learning models that people have straight up used wrong in my own personal career. Just like, Hey, this is not how it was intended. Hey, you're taking the wrong insights of it. Hey, please don't. What have you done to my baby? Any technology can be misused. And of course, we can then talk of like nuclear energy or what have you too. But there's this huge double standard associated with AI of like, it's bad because of people. It is just another tool, a set of tools, a really cool set of tools that's constantly getting more powerful, but it can, like everything else, be misused. I don't see it as different from anything else in that way.
This is probably the most natural segue we're ever going to get to discuss the Manhattan Project of AI.
Energy.
Yeah, you did that, implemented in the wrong way, et cetera. So there is a lot of discussion. There's been some like large articles in the New York Times about the coming of AGI, and do we need? Should there be
government? Capital government knows that it's coming.
And if the IRS has a massive GPU cluster, I think we talked about that one,
right?
Should there be a new Manhattan Project focused on creating AGI with a similar premise? Not exactly, because we're not trying to end a war, but we're trying to prevent against war by being the first ones to claim dominance. You know what? They're stealing this was our idea. We were going to start the cult and have and basically now the United States wants to do the same thing and claim that they've made contact with AGI first. And all you other countries out there, you better behave or our AI models are going to talk to your AI models, and then it's all over.
Mm-hmm. There is this, well, okay. I'm going to think of the Manhattan Project in a couple of different sort of ways here. One is from the secrecy perspective of we're working on something and no one else is kind of allowed to know it. I don't think we're doing that. I'm pretty darn sure everybody knows that there's a gajillion companies out there that are like, we are doing everything we can to speed run toward this.
What's the
a bunch of people have been really explicit about it.
Stargate, that's the government one with $500 billion or whatever.
A made up infinite number of dollars is allegedly going toward that. We're going to need a bunch more chips for that. And there's questions of the CHIPS Act. And like, there's a bunch of questions that I have of how real that is. But suppose that it is. Suppose the government as a whole says, we're going to AGI, folks. That is our number one goal. Shut down the rest of the economy. Everything goes into this. So what if it does? Any little tidbits that come out, just as has happened with every other AI company right now, gets open source recreated 3-6 months down the line. If we do get first to an artificial mind, something that is truly as capable as a human being, the 50-50-50 that I keep talking about, of like, it's at least 50% of people, let alone 90, let alone it's smarter than every single person. If we do then get to that singularity style technology, just immediately exponentially increases, we either get uploaded to a singular mega consciousness 6 months after that, or a utopia, or Terminators. Like there's only so many sort of end games that you can approach there. But it's just hype. It has to be just hype. If yes, you want governments that the governments themselves want to be more capable when it comes to intelligence gathering and synthesis and like battlefield assessment and all these kinds of things, or running the IRS or running all of the whole government. Okay, sure. If that's your goal, fine. But like, I don't think that it's going to be such a strategic advantage that like that a country needs to get to it immediately. Just because for any company that comes with it, let alone a government, is it really that big of a strategic advantage for more than a couple of months?
Well, I was trying to think.
There's not one company, one country, one organization working toward this.
You posited the idea that this couldn't be done in secrecy, or like because the bleeding edge is out there. And I was trying to think, well, what would the government have access to that no one else has access to, conceptually at least? And what is the great limiter or hypothesis that the great limiter in building all these large language models? It's the data that they have access to. We've trained on all of the internet at this point, and that's why we've kind of hit this ceiling where there's just like a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. But who has
NSA
the most
phone
data?
Tapping records?
Yes.
We can
Who
get
has the most data of them all?
Okay.
It's the government.
All right, I'm coming back around.
It's the government.
Right. No, you're right. The NSA and let us completely ignore the legality aspects and the challenges thereof to like all of the wiretapping and all of the phone record stuff. And there's huge data centers of just a gajillion.
You're not a fan of the Patriot Act,
calls.
Daniel Bishop?
I'm just not even touching any of that right now. The point
to
is,
all those people listening right now,
the point is that you have a very good point that the government has an absolute ton of data that basically nobody else has access to.
And we believe it to be very well indexed, that, it already has a lot of structure to it. In other words, that it could actually feed its way into also all the data about how people are connecting with each other. Yes.
Information about the person. Yeah, absolutely.
Could be something there.
I hadn't considered that at all, but you're absolutely right. If the government, the US government, whatever, wanted to make like, here's our AI model. Hey, OpenAI, here's our totally secret Area 51 version of the data center, and every phone call that everyone's done, and camera footage, and this and that, and all of the classified documents that no one else has access to, make a model based off of that. You could have something that no one else has, because data is the one thing that you can have that no one else can. Some of the technologies behind like the Sesame model, no one really knows quite what they're doing yet, but someone will figure something else out fairly similar soon. Right.
But they can't
and any new training technique, any new optimization, any new this, any new architecture, that's being shared freely enough where I don't think anyone has enough of a moat around their technology to last for more than like a year without other people nipping at your heels. But data that no one else can have access to.
And it may even create something that is self-aware. They might be self-aware.
I don't want a government self-aware robot just trained on a bunch of spooks having, taken up all this data. I don't want that.
I think it's silly to think that it's not happening. It's happening. They're working on it. Whether they're successful or not, whether they can create something meaningful, TBD. But the idea that they're not doing this, that they're respecting all of our rights and not looking at any of this data and not mixing things together that they never should be mixing together, it's happening. We've seen it because it's happened so many times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Snowden's still around. Maybe he can expose it. Did he get pardoned? I don't think he did he? There was discussions.
I didn't end up seeing what the end of that ended.
I don't think he got pardoned.
Ends in that sense. Yeah. Well, suppose that we wanted to learn more about the eventual fate of Snowden, the government secret AI project,
Dr. Manhattan, Watchmen. You ever watch Watchmen? Yeah. Who watches The Watchmen?
The graphic novel first. You gotta go through that.
I like the movie. What's the guy's name? Oh man, Snyder. No, Watchmen director. I feel like it got poo-pooed on a little bit. Zack Snyder. Yeah,
it's a good movie.
I like the movie. Now he went on to make like a 16-hour version of it, which is like, come on, man, and like milk for all.
Snyder cut.
But the original theatrical release, I thought that was a good movie, even though I don't think it got 65% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, I liked it.
I haven't seen.
If you want to learn more about the Snyder cut, should we have a $20,000 a month Snyder cut of our episodes where you get to see the? I mean, each of these episodes takes like 12 hours to record. Yeah. I'm exhausted. I'm 7 coffees in.
We wouldn't have to sell too many of them to match levels at his monthly recurring revenue.
That's right.
And I don't know. Bonus. If you want the bonus content, just hit the subscribe because we give it away for free, folks. I don't know why, but we aren't charging a penny for any of this.
Not yet. Maybe someday we can have the Hunter tier. And I do think we have to call it that. It's what would Hunter pay for this? Well, you could too. But until then, absolutely free.
Enjoy it.
All you have to do is listen on a podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I was using Dog Catcher with 2 G's on my Android phone for a while. I like it. I don't know. I stopped using it, but we're on YouTube. You want to watch us? You want to see us?
We're now on twice a week too.
That's true.
Incredible. And
I think so. Glorious HD.
And just do those things, and you will have unlimited.
Well, it's limited. We only have so many episodes in the backlog.
Oh, I was going to cut to they might be self-aware there. Okay, I'll try to, and we will have unlimited.
They might be self-aware.